You dumped a porn star? Friendship over. Friendship over!
Are you a gun enthusiast? Love to shop for guns? We're also looking for friendly service. Well, you're in luck. Here in St. Augustine, Top Gun Supply is the friendly gun shop. Staff is very knowledgeable, happy to see you when you walk through the door, and can assist you with all your gun shopping needs. Top Gun Supply stocks a wide range of firearms, such as Ruger, Beretta, 6 Hour, HK, and LWRC. So stop on by at Top Gun Supply at 525 State Road 16 in St. Augustine. Top Gun Supply here in St. Augustine, the friendly gun shop, a proud sponsor of the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Make sure to listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks Drive Time Armchair Quarterback Show on Facebook Live, and make sure to tap that app, the Armchair Quarterbacks app. Google Android, Apple iPhone, good enough for us down here in the bayou. Go Tigers and the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game. Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs.
Hey, sports fans, football season is here, and it's time to get in on the action. MyBookie.ag has more odds and props than anyone else in the industry. Using MyBookie is simple. Just pick your team, select your odds, and collect your cash. MyBookie.ag has proven to be the most exciting online experience for all sports fans. With the fastest payouts in the industry, there's no other choice than MyBookie.ag. Get in on the action today. Visit MyBookie.ag today.
Make sure to keep it locked in here on Armchair Quarterback Radio. We're not one-trick ponies. We cover the entire NFL, past and present.
3rd down and 6 at the 9. And Bo Jackson to the 20 and out in front. And only one man to beat, and Easley can't run him down. He had the angle, but there goes Bo. And nobody catches Bo. Touchdown. Dion. Back when he started and turns the corner into Giant territory and leave it to Dion to break it open for a touchdown. What a run! Dion comes in as a receiver. Sanders. And they're going his way, but there's double coverage, and somehow Dion is able to beat the coverage. Intercepted by Sanders. Can he score again? Yep. There he goes, Deion Sanders, 71 yards. And so for Deion tonight, a 59-yard punt return for a TD, a 55-yard pass reception, a 39-yard punt return, and a 71-yard interception return.
Oh my God, I'm really sorry.
I was in the pool! I was in the pool!
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
Make sure to listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Good enough for us down here in the bayou. Go Tigers and the Armchair Quarterbacks.
It's morning.
Yes, and what a lovely morning. Good morning.
Good morning. We've talked the whole night through.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now return to Superman. Lois, what's wrong?
Clark, we all have breast cancer. The doctor says it's as if our breasts have been x-rayed 5 hours a day, every day for the last 3 years.
Oh my God, that's terrible. First every woman I've ever known, and now you guys.
Armchair.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks, CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Before re-signing with the Seattle Seahawks last month, veteran defensive end Carlos Dunlap wanted to make sure Russell Wilson was all in. Dunlap said he got the assurance from Wilson himself. Quote, I did ask him, obviously, if he was going to be with us. Because if I'm coming back because I want to see my quarterback and the rest of the team playing alongside with me. I want to pick up where we left off. And he told me he's with us and he's here to stay. And then he added, let's go Hawks. ESPN's Adam Schefter had reported at the start of free agency last month that the Chicago Bears made a very aggressive pursuit for Wilson, but were told that Seattle was not trading him at that time. Carlos Dunlap will continue to wear number 43 for this confirmed the move, saying, quote, it's a part of the business. We all know that. Taylor knows that. This game keeps you in the moment, and that's preparation enough. We had a good meeting with all of them this morning, and our focus on points and objectives going into the games, unquote. Hall was the 2018 NHL MVP, signed 1 year, $8 million contract with the Sabres this offseason. The 29-year-old has a no movement clause, but when asked last month whether he'd be willing to listen to trade options, Hall responded as, yeah, sure, why not? The Tennessee Volunteers have indefinitely suspended junior linebacker Aaron Beasley after he was accused of animal abuse on a kitten. The Knoxville Police Department launched an investigation into a possible animal abuse case after a UT student said she came home last week and found her 6-month-old kitten seriously injured. She told the police she believes her roommate's boyfriend, identified as Beasley, hurt the kitten, whom she said was unable to walk and screaming in pain. The Knoxville Police Department on Tuesday said Beasley has been cited for animal cruelty, a Class 8 misdemeanor, by animal control officials. Major League Baseball today, the Atlanta Braves will try to get off the schneid as they've started the season off 0-4. They'll send Huascar Yanoa to the mound at a 12:05 first pitch start of the doubleheader. Rays and Red Sox, Yarbrough versus Eovaldi at 1:10, and the Cubs and Brewers, Woodruff versus Kendricks at 2:20. At 3:05, the second part of the doubleheader should start around then for the Braves and Nationals. Max Fried is expected to pitch the second game. Other games, 4 o'clock, Cardinals and Jack Flaherty versus Lopez and the Marlins. Yankees-Orioles at 6:35, Dodgers-A's a 3:37 tilt. Trevor Bauer versus Luzardo. And the Mets and Phillies conclude their series, Peterson versus Aaron Nola. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for more of the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk, live from the First Coast. Good morning. It's time to wake up, y'all. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. We're here weekdays on CBS Radio, YouTube Live, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. The Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for Southern sports talk. Good morning, Mr. Justin Waller.
Good morning. I don't know much, but I know one thing. I'd have told you were crazy if you'd have said you hit 4 home runs off Max Scherzer, you'd lose that baseball game. But it happened. Way to go, Braves. 0-4.
Hi, I'm Mac McGinn. I don't know much, but I know one thing. They better get a damn win today. My heart can't take this, man. They start off 0-6. I mean, we're burning the whole damn thing down. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks.
I'm just a regular, everyday, normal guy. I get nervous in social situations. A regular, everyday, normal guy. And I make pretty good spaghetti sauce. Just a regular, everyday, normal guy. And I get scared when I go see the dentist. I'm the Pauly Shore of everyday life, easily forgettable, and I'm not very light. I have an according to Jim personality. I'm as entertaining as an STD. If you wanna mess with me, I think you probably can, because I'm not confident and I'm weak for a man. I'll just roll up in a ball while you kick me in the back. Yeah, honestly, I probably won't fight back. And I don't have many friends that would back me up. My friend Steve would, good, but he doesn't look very tough. If you rarely get laid, put your hands up. If you're not well paid, put your hands up. And if you got a bad back, put your hands up. I'm just a regular, everyday, normal guy. I'm somewhat afraid of heights.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Hey, howdy, hi, top of the morning to you. Welcome to the Armchair Quarterback Radio Show. I'm Mac McGee sitting alongside Justin Waller, and joining us today is Mr. Sean O'Toole, and with us, hopefully, some good luck gear for the Atlanta Braves. Sean, how the hell are you?
I am doing wonderful. It's a beautiful morning in Franklin, Tennessee, and I didn't get my chance to do I don't know much. Cincinnati Reds are the highest scoring team in baseball, which should make our Monday contributor, my good friend, my buddy, Mr. Doug, real happy.
Justin, how the hell are you from atop of the world?
Doing great, Mac. Taking over the world today. It's like Pinky in the Brain. Me and you just taking over. We got the par 3 challenge today. We've got a doubleheader of Braves baseball. I don't know how I'm gonna find time to work, but I'll figure that part out later.
Well, first things first, let's get into this. We haven't really talked about it much as a group. I mentioned it when it first came out about a week or so ago, but we haven't really talked about this. I thought it'd be a good thing to talk about because the Joe Biden signed an executive order that now makes it legal for transgender people to participate in women's sports. Now you notice they didn't worry about making sure the other one was true, right? You didn't make sure that Janet, who's now transferring into Jonathan, is allowed to play on the men's track team. We're not worried about that happening, but we're gonna let John, who now is transgendering into Jane, let she play women's high school sports. This is now a federal mandate. And I just think it's terrible for every woman who's trying to go out there, get an athletic scholarship, trying to play her game. And I'll give you an example. I saw a report the other day where a girl who, I guess this has been a thing in Connecticut for quite some time. So this girl brought up the statistics of she is on a track team in Connecticut. She was the second best track star on her team. She gave all the numbers. I don't have them in front of me, but the long story short is the only person she was bested by her entire career there was a guy who is identifying as a girl. And she put her numbers up against the rest of the numbers from women in high school around the country. And she was very dominant. She should have had gold medals in her events up there. She should have had state records, but they're being transferred over to, well, I don't know the person's name, but the he, she. And I just think why is it that everyone wants to pay attention to science until science tells you that's a damn man? He should not be running against a woman. And now it's like, well, no, he's identifying. I won't go into a big rant because I don't want CBS to pull the plug on me. But Sean, we will give it to you because you'll probably have the most calm take on it, and then we'll give it to Justin.
I've tried multiple times to identify as a spicy chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A because they're my favorite organism on planet Earth. And I've been told that's not allowed either. So I don't have a lot of thoughts. This is ridiculous. This is you guys like to drag me a little bit here and there for being a Democratic voter, but stuff like this is where I tell the Democratic Party you need to go to Burning Man and sing Kumbaya and have some more of that burning lettuce because you folks are just really losing your minds. This is dumb stuff. This is where I get off the boat.
Hot damn mic drop. I don't need to say anything.
Sean's finally converted. Move on.
Next topic.
We finally opened his life. You know what's funny, Justin? He was unaware of this vote, and he texts me back. He goes, Are y'all punking me? Because I told him what batting practice was. Because
I said, "Am I being punked? What is this?"
Well, I honestly, it's optimistic to hear that the view from you, because I mean, hell, I think we just set women's rights back 20, 30, 40 years. I mean, but here's my take on this: is what are you going to do? Are you going to close the transfer portal now? Because it's going to take one free-making individual. What if Dan Campbell doesn't make it as a Detroit Lions head coach, and he decides he wants to be aggressive, and he goes all Dion on it, and we're biting kneecaps, and we're transferring everybody in from everywhere, and then you got a whole stacked team of genetic males ready to bite kneecaps. What are you going to do with that, NCAA, high school sports?
Well, I just want to know, like, where is this going to end? Like, are they going to allow a kid that was pretty good but not great in college basketball to go ahead and play in the WNBA because he knows he can make a living there and get overpaid for a sport that
they wouldn't have to lower the goal,
right?
Get dunks.
So anyways, are they going to allow him in the league? Or she, whatever you want, are they going to allow they in the league? It's so weird when they say I'm a they. See, no. A group of people are a they, not you. You ain't a they. That ought to be on a t-shirt. You ain't a they. But are they going to let they into the league? Okay. Now, I will say this, for the first time ever, someone might actually watch the WNBA, but the point of the matter is, are you going to allow this to happen and ruin your professional league? I would sincerely think they wouldn't, because it is a private business and they can make their own rules. But, Shaq has said that the goal needs to be lowered. Is this how we get WNBA to be watchable, is to have a bunch of theys out there running around?
That's what I was meaning. They wouldn't have to lower it no more. Be slamming everywhere. I don't know. I don't know where it stops. I don't know where I don't understand in the physical contact sports. You go into the wrestling, the UFC, and then, I mean, to my knowledge, I guess we have women's football leagues. I mean, wow. That really,
yeah, well, I mean, they do.
I'm gonna move on from that. I just thought about something I can't unthink of. So
most of the women's football leagues are being sold with sex, because you'll know they're either wearing lingerie or they're wearing very, very tight shorts.
I stepped in a pile I tried to move on from. I had a
by the way, we don't need to see that. We don't need to see a they in the women's lingerie league. Oh God. You can identify all you want, but once things aren't hidden, buddy, when you have a camel nose and not a camel toe, all bets are up.
Oh God, here we go.
Hello. Anyways, between that and then moving the MLB All-Star Game to Colorado, from a city that was 51% black to a city that's 76% white with ID voter laws. I mean, I feel like I'm stuck in an Office episode of Jim Halbert, constantly going, what is going on? I mean, this is the worst year so far, and I'm counting 2020. It's unbelievable, some of the stuff that's going on. It's like every year's getting worse, but we'll move on. I digress, because we could go on all day long about that. Let's go ahead and get into the first quarter of the Armchair Quarterbacks, as we have Braves country. And man, normally I would play an intro or something like that, but it's pretty somber nowadays. Starting off 0-4. Two of the games could have been won, obviously, because you had one that went to the ninth, they bottomed the ninth, and you lost another one in extra innings. The bullpen just didn't do Braves type things yesterday. They were very vulnerable. They gave up runs. They gave up leads. But at the same token, you can't expect a bullpen to be perfect every single game. You can't expect them to come in every game, from the seventh inning on and never give up a run. Those solo shots would have meant more if guys like Ozzie Albies wasn't swinging an axe at home plate and striking out left and right. There would have been someone standing on base. I still contend that's the biggest thing that I've got here is solo shots and get Ozzie out of the 2 spot. Unless There's a lefty. There's a lefty on the mound. I say leave him in there. He's a much better right-handed hitter than he is a left-handed hitter. He's a forced left-handed hitter. I almost think Ozzie needs to give up on the left-hand side. But if you're going to have him be a switch hitter, when he's lefty, man, you need to move him down to about the 7th spot because he's terrible. Put Dansby up at the 2 spot. He's a much better hitter off of right-handed pitching. I know that seems backwards because you would want the righty facing lefty, et cetera, but Ozzie Albies just cannot perform as a left-handed hitter. Justin, what say you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I agree with you 100%. I would swap Dansby and Ozzie instantly. I mean, you're looking at what? Acuna, Swanson, Freeman, Ozuna, Darno, Riley. I mean, does it matter 7, 8, 9 at that point? I mean, nine's your pitcher, so 7 and 8 at that point, you've got an outfielder and Ozzie somewhere in the back to loop back around. But if you're stacked that heavy up top, I mean, there's no way. You saw it last year when you have nowhere to go. Positions 1 through 4, you're forced first inning to pitch or be in a jam. I mean, you can walk around them all you want, but you're playing with fire. And I think if you play with fire that much, you're going to get burnt. So I would stack Dansby back up top.
Sean, what say you?
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I'll be curious to see how the Orlando Arcia acquisition plays into this because he's a quality major league player. He's a professional player. He seems to me to just be insurance for us to not have to trot out the corpse of Camargo every other day or have to use him off the bench because he's useless except as a defensive replacement, maybe a runner here and there. I'll be curious to see if they move things around a little bit. I'm much more concerned about the bullpen and what I've seen so far than the lineup. I think the lineup's going to hit. I agree with you about Ozzie. I've never understood why he stayed as a switch hitter. If you watch his approaches from the left side of the plate, I think he doesn't see the ball very well. I mean, he swings very early, especially down in the zone. He can't recognize pitches the same way from that side that he does from the right side. So I don't understand why he doesn't just give up the ghost. There have been plenty of guys in baseball history that have done that. I'm more concerned about us having to, yesterday, if I had a meter on, you would have seen my blood pressure double when they brought in Josh Tomlin in a bases loaded situation.
Yeah, what the hell's Tomlin doing in the day? Okay, Matzik is phenomenal. Will Smith is pitching fine. You know what the problem is that Chris Martin is injured, so they felt like they had to have a righty. Some guy by the name of Shane Green, I think, is still out there.
Still out there.
And they want to talk about his fastball isn't quite what it was. Well, it's not a Josh Tomlin fastball, which goes about 72 straight. You might as well put the damn thing on a tee. Josh Tomlin should be in there like in the 5th inning, 6th inning when the game's out of control, one way or the other. He's just in there to eat innings. He's not a damn late innings guy.
Or long reliever when your starter gets blown up in the first 2 innings so that you don't kill the pen. That should be his function. Yeah,
right. That's what I just said.
Chris Martin being
out of control, you put him in. When the game's on the line, Josh Tomlin shouldn't even be anywhere near it. He should either be sitting in the bullpen catching for an extra reliever, or he should already be in the dugout because he's blown a huge lead and drinking a soda pop.
When I utter the phrase, this is worse than seeing 77 come in, you know that Snickers messed up. I mean, I would have rather seen Luke Jackson.
I would have much rather seen Luke Jackson. I hate to tell you, but at least Luke Jackson has an opportunity. He has the ability to strike out.
To strike somebody out.
He also has the ability to get the hell knocked out of him, but he's got the you can't just have one right-hander that you can go to in pressure situations. This isn't going to work all year. And you trade Chad Sabatka, who's a pretty darn good arm himself, to get the backup. Look, I didn't think it was a terrible trade, to be honest with you, because the Braves need some depth on their bench. So I didn't hate the trade. But man, it is time to go get freaking Shane Green out of retirement. Asinine.
He's not even in retirement. He's just walking around on the street. Look, he was the closer for the Tigers. I've seen a lot of Shane Green.
Give me some Tuki Toussaint. Let him come out of the pen.
That cutter's alive, even if you don't like his fastball, because it is a bit too straight. He's got that 92-mile-an-hour cutter. He's got a good slurve. I don't understand if they're playing chicken with him or what they're trying to do, but he's out there. Go get him. Come on, Alex Anthopoulos. Get your head out of wherever it is. Go pick him up.
I mean, good God. You've got all these right-handed arms that are down on the farm or on the taxi squad, and they keep saying, "Oh, quit telling me that Josh Tomlin's also like an extra coach." Then let the son of a gun sit there with a clipboard and coach. I'm not going to give the ball to Snitty with the game on the line. Let's not give the ball to Josh Tomlin with the game on the line. Jeez. I mean, I don't even know how old Josh Tomlin is at this point.
He's got to be 35, 36. I mean, he broke in with the Indians as a starter. I want to say 2012, 2013. I mean, he was with the Indians for a while. So he's got to.
I mean, if we're going to do this, I'd rather see Paul Bird drop the microphone and walk out there and see if he can get it out.
Hey, Birdie, I'll bet you Birdie will still get you with the old EFIS curve. He still got that 77 EFIS curve. He'll get you.
I mean, God bless. All right. Well, what else the hell else is happening in the world of baseball? Have we gotten an official announcement on Tatis, by the way?
Temporarily on the 10-day injured list,
right?
With left shoulder inflammation. I didn't realize until I read the article. I guess this is a pre-existing condition. He's had some kind of issue with his left shoulder where it has dislocated and popped back in a couple times throughout his young career. That's concerning.
Yeah, I mean, that was the issue when he was what was it? Was that 2019 that he didn't finish the whole season?
Yeah, that would sound right.
It was a shoulder. That's it. I mean, look, that's when they gave him $340 million. Like, all right, man, you do you. This dude's played 143 games, and now he's played 145 games since he's hurt again.
My getting laughed at in the serious $100 league I'm in with Trosh for taking Hassan Kim doesn't sound like such a joke right now. Suddenly that got real popular in trade offers.
My entire team being on the freaking IL isn't looking so good either. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, it's a bad. I want to curve around to something I heard you say on Monday. You're not a believer in Ohtani. Sunday night game didn't really do anything for you, or you just think he's too much.
It's the fact that I don't think he can be a full-time starter and be a full-time. They keep talking about wanting to put him in the outfield, and I don't think you can do both. And I really don't think you can be a full-time effective starter, dominant starter, and be a great hitter. I think their best bet, because it shows the guy runs out of gas, but okay, you can build up his innings, whatever. But you have much less chance of an injury if he's coming in and pitching one inning at a time. I say make the guy a designated hitter and then let him DH. Or let him play outfield and let him DH.
Right.
You got a whole lot less a chance of injury when his pitching arm isn't the leadoff arm in the batter's box.
Yes.
That's true.
His pitching arm is not strong right now. So he does not have a strong pitch hand. That's all I can say. Let's go ahead and take a quick break, because when we come back, it is time for the 2021 NFL mock draft. We'll get it rolling here in just a second on the Armchair Quarterbacks. Keep it locked in here to CBS Sports Radio.
Stupid interviews. Hey, you're a member of the Buffalo Bills. How does it feel?
Well, it's a blessing. I want to thank God. Going to try to do my best. It's a great organization. And I'll say the last 80 guys said. So, yeah.
Enjoy sun-drenched days, epic stays, and plenty of room to roam in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Our hotels, attractions, and restaurants have taken the Visit Lauderdale's Safe and Clean pledge, so you can relax and explore with confidence. When you're ready for that well-deserved staycation, our 23 miles of golden beaches await. Find wide-open spaces to hike, bike, kayak, and paddleboard. Visit your favorite attractions, then dine out in style in socially distanced dining rooms or al fresco on waterfront patios. Learn more at sunny.org.
Big news and the big games covered in the Big Ten by the Armchair Quarterbacks all year long.
Averaging
just under 38 on 44 kicks this year. Nice high kick, got a little wind under it, and it runs Howard back over. But it's a little flick at that. Oh, my goodness. One man. Goodbye. Well, the ball is actually a little short of the 1 yard line now. It is fourth down, the final play, unless they can stick it in the end zone. Andre Johnson, Roscoe Parrish, and Kellen Winslow and Dorsey under pressure. Throws it. Incomplete. The Buckeyes win. They went to Hickman, and Penn State well-timed blitz. LeVar Arrington, the All-America candidate, came across. Well, it was a great athletic play by LeVar Arrington. As you see, he times his blitz very well, leaves his feet, and hits Hickman in the backfield.
Big Ten football covered in the Southeast by the Armchair Quarterbacks.
I was your age, they would say we could become cops or criminals. Today, what I'm saying is this. When you're facing a loaded gun, what's the difference?
Make contact. A collective psychosis is sweeping the nation. We're in the thick of the haze craze, and Elysian is introducing an altered state of IPA. Contact Haze is a tangled chemistry of mild haze, low bitterness, and an explosion of hop aroma. This hazy IPA bursts with notes of bright raspberry, currant, citrus, guava, and passion fruit. Available in 6-pack cans in stores and at all Seattle Elysian locations. Make contact.
Take me out to the ball game.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Find us on Facebook today.
It all starts with just one thing. Glass jars can be reused to store food and spices, as a holder for combs and brushes in the bathroom, or as a container for plants and homemade candles, in addition to simply being recycled. Find tips and more at onethingus.com.
What's happening in sports? Find out when it happens. Get the CBS Sports app free in the Android market and iTunes App Store.
You play to win the game.
All right, we're ready. We're playing some space music for Justin's space background.
That's right. It was grass or San Francisco, so I went with space.
I'm surprised you didn't go with Rocky Top in the background or something like that.
Well, I mean, it is the world. Rocky Top as we know it. I mean, not more to say there.
Well, if you could do me a favor, point to Neyland Stadium on your on your glove. Okay, so today begins. We're not really calling it a weight loss challenge because we're not challenged. We're trying to support weight loss support. That sounds like it's some kind of device. But we're trying to come up with a support system so that we can lose some weight. And someone asked me the other day, "Why are you doing this?" Because I don't want to die. Okay, that's why. I'm trying.
He likes to live.
Yeah, I'm trying to live for a little longer. I'm trying to beat the odds. A lot of people have put a lot of bets against me. I'm gonna push the sun back into the sky one more time. So if the 90s and early 2000s didn't kill me, I don't want a ding dong or ho ho or Twinkie to kill me. So with that being said, we're going to weigh in every Wednesday, the first Wednesday of the month, because my theory is if you weigh in too much, you're going to get depressed because there's going to be weeks where you might gain a pound or so because of water weight and muscle, because as you're walking, running, working out, whatever, you're going to gain muscle. It's the whole kit and caboodle. So we're going to weigh ourselves prior to the show. There's no sense of us trying to do some goofy Facebook Live type of thing where we're following the camera through our house, and someone sees something they don't want to see, as Sean forgot to wear shorts that day or something. So we're going to weigh ourselves in. It's going to be by honor system. You're going to know if we're lying, because if I have to get like a second and third camera to get me all into the view, everybody knows that I'm now pushing 4 bills. And I can't go, I've lost 14 pounds. Well, we found it. It's that roll in the back of your neck. Okay. So with that being said,
Cowboy collar.
I know Matt Carr is going to participate, and so he'll probably just drop the number in the YouTube line. Anyone who's listening and watching wants to participate, you put your number in. It's like I said, it's gonna be honor code system, and there might be some months where you gain a little, might be some months where you lose a little, but we're just trying to stay on top of it. So I feel like we all try to get going. We all try to start living right. And then after a few weeks, we got to hell with it. I'll start that. It'd be a good time. 5th of July would be a good time to start a diet. And then it's like, you know what? Labor Day weekend's coming up. How about the day after? Man, it's football season. I can't be on a diet during football season. So let's do it in February. And then the next thing you know, let's March Madness. I can't be doing that middle of March Madness. So y'all know the drill. Okay, Sean, you're probably by far the lightest, so we're going to start with you so that Justin and I can be much more embarrassed. What are you weighing in this morning, sir?
Actually, the heaviest I've ever been, 274.
I would have never guessed that because you look much thinner on a camera. So 274.
I've lived 9 lives in this body, sir. Some of them have been light, some of them have been not light.
Right back at you.
If you got 9 lives in my body, wait till you hear my number.
Exactly. Right now, I'm
so fat. 9 lives sounds good right now. I've never tried 9 lives.
I'd like to lose a person or two. Could I just have 9?
Okay, Justin, where are you at this morning, sir?
326.8.
326.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I am at 330. I'm at the biggest I've ever been. And this is what I might be a tad lower, but I weighed this like a day ago. So I am running every day. I thought about making it even higher that way. When I said, man, I got under 300 pounds, I'll be like, damn, dude, you lost a lot.
Started to go with 400, but didn't think y'all buy it. I thought the same approach.
I thought you told me that you were 400 recently. So that's why.
No, I had gotten up to 350. I hit 350, and that was my, all right, fat ass. That's enough, dude. You're either going to be diabetic and die, or you got to do something about it. So,
well, that's good for you, man. So
it's not all gone away. It's been a long year struggle, but I've lost 25 pounds.
Well,
so.
You're one of the few people in America who lost 25 pounds during a pandemic. I'm just going to put that out there. I put on about 25, 30 pounds during the pandemic. When the pandemic first started, I was right under I was teetering in the 300 mark. And then I remember I didn't get on the scale for like about a month and a half, 2 months, and got on there and go, holy crap. I think the highest I was at was just over 330. And so I've been
it wasn't easy. And the hardest thing is you kind of got to be a tool and ditch some of your buddies like Jack and Jim and hang out with a new guy named Tito because he's calorie free. Jack and Jim aren't too happy about it, but Tito, he's my new buddy.
I don't drink that much for that to be a thing with me. I drank much more when I was younger. I drink probably
just a lot more sugar than you think. And that's really the sugar, cutting it out completely is the hardest thing for
Tito's
in
vodka,
my
right?
house. It is for me to cut out is all the sugar, especially with the children.
Tito is vodka, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm thinking about switching to vodka because I know you can't do rum because rum is nothing but sugar, right?
Vodka, I mean, that's the diet drink of choice.
I just never liked it. I was just like, ugh, this again.
You'll find something to mix it with. Just keep trying.
Really,
don't give
really
up.
Good. It's really good with cranberry juice and ginger ale. Those are the two things that I've only ever found that vodka.
Make flavored vodka if you need to work your way into it.
I'll be mixing with
There you go.
Mixing it with Jack is what I'll be mixing it with. That's
man. Now, let me tell you something, gentlemen. Before we go off the rails, I will tell you one thing not to do. Don't sit down and buy you a 6 or 12 pack of your favorite Dos Equis or anything that you like to put a lime or lemon in. You don't like to fruit your beer, so you probably don't have this. Well, I had the genius idea one time. I got some leftover lemonade vodka. I'm like, ooh, this will make a good lime replacement. Let me pour a shot in my beer. That's not a good idea, by the way.
And then
want to tell you guys, y'all probably already know that, but I did not, and I had to learn.
Next morning, you wake up with divorce papers like stapled to your chest.
We both look at each other. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. The hell happened? Oh,
lemons were pretty potent.
I got video. I'll show you what happened. Pull up. You know what? It's trending on TikTok. Just jump on there. All right. So there's that. I also went out and bought one of those, for lack of a better term, I want to call it like a cloth measuring tape. And one of my biggest things is I want to be measuring my gut, but I'm going to do it all the way around. Not that cheater style where you're like, I can still fit into a 32 waist blue jeans and you're look like a potato that's been squeezed by a rubber band. It's just plopping out all over the place. I'm talking about actual, like, the
you're going around the belly button.
Yeah. I mean, all the way around, right? Love handles and everything. Cause that's a goal that I have, but I won't put those numbers out yet because I got to get that down a little bit before I even start referring to that. Going, hey, look at this! Like, man, I didn't know tapes went that long.
Nobody got to get it on a single tape, so I don't have to do math.
Nobody jump on Amazon buying those electric ab pads either. We'll have to make an announcement on the show that you've been electrocuted in the tub trying to get your abs down to a 34. I wonder if
I'm just waiting for one of us to broadcast with a shake weight. It'll be Tamus. He'll join us with a shake weight next week.
Look, man, I've been using my own version of a shake weight since puberty. That hasn't burned any calories off.
Stop it now.
Okay. All right. So there you have that. So we'll weigh in again in May, and we go from there to the NFL mock draft. And I hope some of y'all join in. And Michael's. I'm gonna drop Michael's down. Michael is chiming in at 325.4, and then Brian, screw you, Brian. Everybody hates you. 171.
171? Good Lord.
That was my 5th grade number, Brian.
Where are you losing weight from? Your left earlobe?
Well, I mean, he just got married a year ago, so he probably wants to make sure that he stays there. So in 10 years, he's not going, well, here I am.
He sees the future. He's like, I don't want to be like you boys.
Exactly. I've put the majority of this weight on since I'm coming up on my 5th year anniversary, and I'd already kind of put on a few pounds after I met her in 13. We got married in 16, but since I met her, I mean, I've put on 80-ish pounds. So when people say, how'd you get married? Well, I wasn't always like this.
Yeah, once you come off the market, you kind of
like,
scale back a little bit.
Yeah.
Next time we weigh in, you need to play the Chris Rock bit from Bring the Pain, where he's like he's doing the thing about how you looked good when you were single, and now you got a girlfriend and you look like crap.
Justin, I mean, Sean, if you can move a little closer because you're kind of echoey when you're that far away and zoom in and don't have a headset on. But yeah, man, that's funny. It was right around the time she said, I do. I said, I do too. I'll take another serving of this, another helping of that. Although I did realize as it was getting closer to the wedding day, I was like, how am I going to squeeze in my tux? Anyways, it's all been downhill after that. Mock draft 1.0121, 121, whatever you want to call it. We'll be doing this mock draft throughout the month of April. We'll be doing at least 1 to 2 picks a day, mostly, usually more than that, but we wanted to start off with a bang. So this is going to be no shock to anyone as we start off. I've got the first pick with the Jaguars. I wanted to take the easy way out because I didn't want someone to get creative and say, we're going to take, Trey Lance or whatever, because if Urban Meyer doesn't draft Trevor Lawrence, there's going to be a huge gasp because the guy has just been falling in love with this kid ever since he started at Clemson. So I've got the Jacksonville Jaguars taking Trevor Lawrence from Clemson, quarterback, and that sets up Jacksonville hopefully for the next decade with their quarterback. Of course, buyer beware, because that's what they thought in Tennessee with Mariota. That's what they thought in Tampa Bay with Jameis Winston, and the list goes on and on and on.
Don't stop with Mariota. We thought it with Jake Locker. We thought it with Vince Young. I mean, keep them rolling, buddy.
Jake Locker was a lock, man. He was a lock.
He retired, baby. He sailed off into the sunset after I bought his dad blamed jersey and wasted my money. But, whatever. I will still wear it every year just to remind myself why I should buy personalized jerseys from now on.
That's another jersey I can't fit into, the Jake Locker days. Okay, so the second pick of the draft, I need to pull up the draft order. It is the New York Jets, and Justin's going to have the pick. Are you going to shock anyone here? Because what we're trying to be as close to what we think is going to happen. So do you think it's going to go?
Honestly, I think in my gut I think it will go chalk, but I'm not 100% sold. Just Urban Meyer seems like the kind of dude that's going to do what Urban Meyer wants to do, and I hear him talking one way, but then I know deep down inside he thinks he's smarter than everybody else. And I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't take who I think the Jets will take if they fall, Zach Wilson, BYU quarterback. Something deep down inside me tells me Urban's just, I don't know. I think he's egotistical, and I'm not sure he'll pull the trigger on Trevor Lawrence. He should, but telling you, he thinks he's smarter than everybody else.
I disagree, man. I think he'll go chalk.
But I think Wilson will be the best quarterback out of this draft. So, I think the Jets win out here. I hope the Jaguars don't take Wilson. I think he's a little bit more mobile. He can shift his arm and throw like Rodgers and Mahomes. Not as much as the scramble ability of Mahomes, but he still does have wheels. So he can make plays. And I really enjoyed watching him play. I think the kid's a gamer, and got a little Baker Mayfield in him too.
If it's not a quarterback
after trading Darno, it has to be a quarterback at number 2.
Right. Well, you see, that's the thing. It's got to be. And I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be gone, and I don't think there's any way it's not Zach Wilson. Remember, a couple of months ago, everyone thought it could be Justin Fields, but he has fallen down the board. Not far, but he's fallen down the board, and it looks like it's got to be Zach Wilson. I mean, Sean, do you see any way that it doesn't go Zach Wilson?
No, I don't. All the reports that everyone has put out there is that the Jets are in love with him. Salo likes him. That front office is completely enamored with him. They were front and center at his pro day. I don't see any scenario that it's not Wilson, unless, like Justin said, Urban Meyer is trying to okie doke everybody. I just don't see that out of Urban. The dude has such an ego. He wants to come into the league and be, one of the first college head coaches to actually amount to anything in the pros. And I just think he's going to rely on Balke and all the people in the front office to do their work.
All right, so at that point, it's the San Francisco 49ers, and this is the one that has got a lot of, they pretty much think they're going to go quarterback, but there's been a lot of question on which quarterback they'll go. Curious to see where you think they're going to go at number 3 with the pick. Obviously, they still have Garoppolo, but that doesn't mean that they're not grooming to get Garoppolo out of there and move on to the future. Where do you see the 49ers go? Sean?
I think they're going with Mac Jones. I can't believe it because I don't think he's the 3rd best quarterback in this draft. I'm not even sure that he's the 4th best quarterback in this draft or the 5th. But everything I've read and all of the chatter seems to be that they moved up to that spot specifically to take him. Kyle Shanahan wants this kind of a quarterback, someone with a high football IQ who can make every throw that he's going to gadget up and isn't necessarily the athletic specimen, if you will, that Wilson or Lance or Fields or Lawrence are. He wants to be able to design, Kyle Shanahan, that is, wants to be able to design an offense around his quarterback. I don't know what they're thinking by doing it. This is basically younger, slightly better Jimmy Garoppolo, but all signs point to that's where they're going at this pick, as perplexing as that is to me.
Justin, do you see it any other way?
No, I mean, if they truly moved up to get quarterback, I see they have to now that the Darnold trade has happened. I think that they probably thought they'd get a stab at Wilson until that trade went down Monday. So next guy up, yeah, I'd probably go. I'm between Jones and Lance. I haven't seen enough of Lance, and he hasn't played enough of a collegiate career that we've seen to really know what you're getting there. So,
right, that's
saying that a default by Jones. I mean, that's my problem with Lance being in these first round picks is what are you really grading out? I mean, I don't know. That's a far reach, and I don't think they can pull the trigger there. So I think Mac Jones would fit the system better since Wilson's already off the board.
You got to figure that whoever it is they have at 3, they thought would not be there where they were drafting a little farther down. And it's weird. A couple of weeks ago, all they could talk about was Trey Lance, and all of a sudden it's moved over to Mac Jones again. So I don't know what to believe, but I feel like Trey Lance with the high upside, if you let him sit behind Shanahan, is the pick. I'm sorry, not Shanahan, Garoppolo. But it does sound like that Mac Jones is the pick that everyone's going with. So, I mean, I can't argue with it. I just have this feeling that they're going to pull the Trey Lance trigger because the only thing about that is it does seem like that Shanahan, every step he's gone with success, he hasn't needed someone with great agility out of the pocket. So there you have that one. So now I got the Falcons and they're number 4 pick. And this is one of the most intriguing ones I think there is because you've got an aging Matt Ryan, so they could go Trey Lance. But you also have a quarterback that's still pretty darn good in Matt Ryan. It's such a deep quarterback class. Could you wait another round to possibly go after a guy like Kyle Trask? And that's the big question there. I think Atlanta will not be able to pass up who I think is the second best player in the draft, and that's Kyle Pitts out of the University of Florida.
You hit the nail on the head.
I think Pitts, you add Pitts with Julio Jones and the rest of that receiving core, which is nothing to sneeze at. You still have Todd Gurley. I think you've got a real chance.
Your head coach is now Arthur Smith, who is a tight ends guy through and through. You look at the roster he built in Nashville and that tight end room, and I guarantee you if one of them top 3 quarterbacks are not there and he cannot replace up to that, he will get a tight end. And like you said, revisit Trask to pair up with Kyle Pitts later on in the draft. But I truly think this will be tight end right here if the quarterbacks fall the way we think they are. The only change in that, I think, would be if a quarterback, one of those top 3s that came off.
He's just,
and I'd really say top 2, Lawrence or Wilson, and I don't think it's happening that either one falls to 4.
Unless they're in love with Lance or they're really big on Jones and he falls there, I don't see how. I mean, Kyle Pitts wouldn't be a bad pick for the 49ers, to be honest with you, considering that they don't have a lot of options in powerhouse when it comes to that offense, but I just don't think it's going to go that way.
Can you imagine trying to line up and seeing Pitts and Kittle together? Jesus, Mary and Joseph, give me a break.
You know, and the thing is, when I think
over.
When I think of Pitts too, I go tight end, right? Because he doesn't really put his hand in the dirt. he's more of a huge slot receiver is what he is.
Yeah. Yep.
But regardless, he's going to cause issues on your defense, and that's what you want. I mean, that's all it really comes down to. You call him whatever the hell you want, but he's going to cause issues. But specifically the 49ers, they can't be wrong about this draft because the Seahawks are going to be the Seahawks, and the Rams just got a hell of a lot better. So. And Arizona, oh, by the way, has had a decent offseason themselves so far. So, a lot of pressure on you with the number 5 pick, Justin, because Brian, that is his boys, the Cincinnati Bengals. And they got the 5th pick overall. And we're going with the assumption there won't be trades because we've done trades in the past. The problem when that happens is that then it's hard to keep it straight. If everyone was here with me every single show the entire time, it would be a lot easier to keep up with. But when I have Sean on Wednesday and Joey on Thursday, et cetera, and we do a trade, go, what the hell are you talking about? I thought the Jaguars had the 25th pick. Well, no, they packaged a deal. And we combine the 2023 second round pick. And when we get to 2023, we're not keeping that in order. So like, what are you talking about? I don't remember that show. So Justin, the number 5 pick overall, who they, the Bengals, or they're trying to become the Bengals again, not the Bungles. Who you got?
Well, after trading away AJ Green, I definitely think we go wide receiver here. I'd just go a little bit different than a lot of the talking heads. You see that this is a favorable pick for Jamar Chase. And then you see another wide receiver going before who I think is the number 1 wide receiver. But I think the 3rd best wide receiver that I see graded out in these mock drafts, in my mind, is number 1. I'm going Devontae Smith right here. I'm going playmaker, best route runner out of this wide receiver trio at the top of the list. I'm going Smith over Jamar Chase.
So you don't think that they'll go offensive line to try to, bolster to keep Joe Burrow healthy?
No. I mean, yes, you need it, but I think they'll revisit that second round. I think right now you need playmaking stud to go with him.
That's look.
I don't think a Devontae Smith's gonna come around again. You got lucky if you could walk out of an AJ Green and replace him with a younger, modern version, and you pick which one of those 3 you think is your AJ Green. You go get him right here, right now. He won't be there when you come back around in the second.
Isn't it amazing how just a couple of months later he's now the number 3 wide receiver? When we last saw him on the field, there was a question not if he was the best receiver, but if he was the best player in the draft, right? If like the Jets should have kept Darnold and drafted him, because we were talking about that back in late January.
I mean, has your mind wavered, or are you still?
If
you're pulling first wide receiver on the board, who do you take?
I'm still with you. Look, I like Devontae Smith. I get it that he doesn't have the size, and we talked about that before.
See, I'm a Steve Smith fan. Size don't bother me. I've seen little dudes do it.
Well, but Steve Smith was yoked. Devontae Smith is scrawny, but don't you think that they'll get him in the training room and go, look here, dude, we're going to need to ask you, speaking of weigh-ins, every Wednesday or every first Wednesday of the month with Devontae Smith, we need to jump you on the Armchair Quarterbacks. And instead of, trying to lose weight, you need to gain some of theirs. Okay. So I think they can put 15, 20 pounds on him by the time the season starts. And then his size is much to do about nothing.
Yeah, he's going to get in an NFL training room, and they're going to be like, here's a 50-pound bag of potatoes, a 30-pound bag of boiled eggs, and here's 30 pounds of elk meat. And these are the only 3 things you can eat for the next 90 days. And I'll bet you he'll have a lot of muscle on. My problem with drafts and how long the time is between, say, the combines, which I know didn't happen this year, or the pro days and the draft is we end up seeing people that are, paralysis by analysis. And we start seeing these charts of, well, his hand size is only in the 35th percentile. And I'm just like, you have to, what do you say? You say it all the time, McGee. You have to watch the games. This is the best player. This was the best player in college football. And we didn't see
Jamar. Damn about his hand size. I'm not dating him.
Exactly. Exactly. Somebody put up Calvin Johnson's little chart from the draft situation when he came out, and it was like his hand size was a 41 and everything else was a 99. I'm like, that's where you nerds tick me off, because that's the best. He was the most gifted wide receiver, still that one of the most gifted wide receivers I've ever seen in my entire life. And if you're focusing on his hand size or you're focusing on this or that, just get out of here with it. I'm curious to see where Chase lands. We'll get to that in a minute, because he didn't play last year. I mean, nobody saw him. He took the year off. So, the Devontae Smith,
and then he played the one game, and it was terrible. They did like an exhibition. He did terrible. What did you expect him to look like? Because he hadn't played all year, and they
hadn't played in a year.
They hyped up this one game.
I'll be curious if the Bengals fans are upset if they don't take a lineman. The jury's out on this group of linemen, that they're all very good, but none of them are elite. So I don't know if you don't think they're elite, how you can take one at 5. But if you're Cincinnati, you better take a couple in the course of this draft, or you're going to have some real question marks being asked of your organization. So I don't dislike the pick. He's got to have somebody to throw to, other than Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins.
If it's a receiver, I say you do get Devontae Smith. I just kind of think they might go offensive line, because you've got to keep Burrow upright, and that's got to be your main focus. But it's very tempting if you're sitting there at the 5th pick, especially as fans, man, because you sit there and you go through a terrible season where you're bad enough to pick number 5, and you're like, all right, we added a freaking offensive lineman. Woohoo. Hey. That's not very Madden like, right? You're not getting excited on the Madden 21. Go, man, I can't wait to get the new game, because when our offensive guard is plugged in there, we're gonna be fun to watch. So that just, as a fan, you just tend to do that. Sean, real quick before we have to get out of this first hour, who are the Dolphins going to?
Yeah, so with that being said, if he's still there at this pick, and I think he will be, all signs point to the Dolphins taking a receiver. So I'm going to take Jamar Chase out of LSU. I don't know that he's the best receiver in this draft, or even the second best, because we just haven't seen enough lately. But if you're going to commit to Tua, and they're going to give him this year to prove that he's the guy, moving back up from 6 after moving down to 12 is a clear indication they're going to take a skill position player. So I'm going to take Jamar Chase, wide receiver out of LSU, for the Miami Dolphins. And Trosh will like that, I'm sure.
Oh, that's funny. I haven't really heard Trosh's opinion. I'm sure we'll get it next Tuesday. But him being a big Dolphins fan, I figure that they can get anything that they want with all these picks that they have coming to them. They have 2 1s and 2 2s this year. Yep. I think I heard that they have
like 4 of the first 45. I think it's nuts.
And they've got 5 number 1 picks over the next 3 drafts. So they can load up, but when you have a chance, once again, Jamar Chase didn't play this year, so you're worried about that. Justin, what's your walk-off for the day, sir?
Well, Braves country, I hope everybody gets to first wash your hands, and then I hope everybody gets to taste a calorie-free W today. So, Mr. Jameis, taste them W's.
Taste them W's.
Wash your hands first, though.
When you're not drinking booze, what are you drinking, Justin? See, that's my problem.
Water.
I love soda too much.
Yeah, water.
It's hard, dude, but you
I've been doing this more of getting the water and just putting some kind of a
Propel or try some
powder.
different.
This says Powerade, but that's not what it is. It's water with
Propel powder is a lifesaver, and it's relatively inexpensive. I use it a lot.
Well, the other one I like is what's the one? It starts with an M and it's got like
Mio.
Yeah, the vitamin B in it. I've been trying that, but sometimes it gets me all. I'm doing that. I got an energy drink and I got a coffee.
Just try some flavored waters. Those really help too to change it up, because sometimes the flavor packs get old. But if
I do try
buy
flavored
the
waters
actual
all the time.
flavored water,
Miller Lite.
Yeah,
Budweiser.
That's the other thing. If you're going to consume, you got to go to the beer tasting water. You got to go to the light stuff. That's But
Well,
then,
yeah,
boy,
I've been
watch
doing
out,
Middle
'cause
Light for years.
Well,
And
watch out. Let me tell you, because the first time you try and get in the ring with the heavyweights after you've been on the Miller Lite for a while, woohoo, Sam tells you a little different story. He's like, "Hey, big guy, you jumped
I've
up to
never
the
liked
big
Sam
heavyweights."
I've just never been a Sam Adams fan. Give me a cold Middle Light and a shot of whiskey, and see, that's my problem. It's the shot of whiskey part. You're not gonna get me excited about a shot of vodka. I'm like, what are we, 14?
I don't really take shots of vodka. So yeah, it's just a mixed drink thing. Yeah, the shots are pretty much good. Take shots of water. There you go.
What about those seltzers? Do they have light
Horrible.
seltzers?
No.
No, man, don't
do it.
sleep on the seltzers. When you're in the
Don't
hot
do it.
sun, you don't need to be drinking freaking, heavy stuff, dude. You're going to be, once again, freaking divorce.
That's when I go to Pacifico or a Modelo or a Corona. I mean, when I'm out in the when I'm in the sun, Pacifico is the best beer you can have in the hot weather. I'm sorry, it is, hands down.
I don't know, man.
Try it before you go on your diet tomorrow. Try it today, Pacifico.
I've already been on my diet, dude. I've already been running. Like, this is already a thing with me. I'm not gonna go.
Well, there you go.
I'm not gonna go get drunk at lunch just because you told me to.
I took a six.
Well, I thought you were a better friend than that, Mac. I mean, damn.
Well, you were wrong. I'm a better employee than that. I'll just put it that way. We'll see you tomorrow, brother.
Later, right.
We have been hoodwinked. Ben-
Armchair. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks, CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Before re-signing with the Seattle Seahawks last month, veteran defensive end Carlos Dunlap wanted to make sure Russell Wilson was all in. Dunlap said he got the assurance from Wilson himself. Quote, "I did ask him, obviously, if he was going to be with us, because if I'm coming back because I want to see my quarterback and the rest of the team playing alongside with me. I want to pick up where we left off. And he told me he's with us and he's here to stay." And then he added, "Let's go Hawks." ESPN's Adam Schefter had reported at the start of free agency last month that the Chicago Bears made a very aggressive pursuit for Wilson, but were told that Seattle was not trading him at that time. Carlos Dunlap will continue to wear number 43 for this. Confirmed the move, saying, quote, "It's a part of the business. We all know that. Taylor knows that. This game keeps you in the moment, and that's preparation enough. We had a good meeting with all of them this morning and our focus on points and objectives going into the games," unquote. Hall was the 2018 NHL MVP, signed 1 year, $8 million contract with the Sabres this offseason. The 29-year-old has a no movement clause, but when asked last month whether he'd be willing to listen to trade options, Hall responded as, "Yeah, sure, why not?" The Tennessee Volunteers have indefinitely suspended junior linebacker Aaron Beasley after he was accused of animal abuse on a kitten. The Knoxville Police Department launched an investigation into a possible animal abuse case after a UT student said she came home last week and found her 6-month-old kitten seriously injured. She told the police she believes her roommate's boyfriend, identified as Beasley, hurt the kitten, whom she said was unable to walk and screaming in pain. The Knoxville Police Department on Tuesday said Beasley has been cited for animal cruelty, a Class A misdemeanor, by animal control officials. Major League Baseball today, the Atlanta Braves will try to get off the schneid as they've started the season off 0-4. They'll send Huascar Ynoa to the mound at a 12:05 first pitch start of the doubleheader. Rays and Red Sox, Yarbrough versus Eovaldi at 1:10, and the Cubs and Brewers, Woodruff versus Kendricks at 2:20. At 3:05,
The second part of the doubleheader should start around then for the Braves and Nationals. Max Fried is expected to pitch the second game. Other games, 4 o'clock. Cardinals and Jack Flaherty versus Lopez and the Marlins. Yankees-Orioles at 6:35. Dodgers-A's, a 3:37 tilt. Trevor Bauer versus Luzardo. And the Mets and Phillies conclude their series, Peterson versus Aaron Nola. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for more of the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast.
This year, choose a yogurt that's right for you. With 2 grams of sugar per 5.3 ounce serving, Too Good Greek yogurt is too good to be true. So Delicious dairy-free yogurt and Silk yogurt alternatives are delicious plant-based swaps you can enjoy by the spoon or add to recipes. Oikos 000 yogurt and Light and Fit yogurt are tasty, non-fat yogurt options. So many flavors, varieties, and possibilities. Elevate any recipe and your everyday with yogurt. Shop at Target.
Welcome to the jungle. Jim Rome on the air, noon to 3 Eastern, only on CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome back here to the Armchair Quarterbacks. CBS Sports Radio, good morning. 9 Eastern, wherever you may be. And we're also on YouTube Live. Make sure to find us on YouTube Live. We're about to get into the 7 through 10 picks in the first round of our NFL mock draft. We do this every year. It lasts all the way up until the day of the draft, which is this year. I believe it's the 30th? I know it's the tail end of the month. So 29th, the 29th. Thursday, the 29th. So we got about a little over 3 weeks to do this, and we usually get well into the third round. So that's why we start so early. Before we get into anything else, let's get into what is happening in the world of sports. Yesterday, the Nationals take out the Braves 6-5. Braves start off 0-4 to start the season. Cardinals over the Marlins 3-2. And the Orioles still can't beat the Yankees. They lose 7-2. Garrett Cole flat out dominant again. Red Sox in extras beat the Rays, which was a big deal because the Rays had Glasnow on the mound who pitched decently. They just didn't get the win. The Brewers blanked the Cubs 4-0. Tigers, they're on the plus side of victories. They're 3-2 to start the season. They take down the Twins 4-3. Soto getting the W. And the Astros are still doing Astros type things. They're 5-1 to start the year, beating the Angels 4-2. Reds and Pirates, 14-1. Pirates is just not a good baseball team, y'all. Mets 8-4 winners over the Phillies. Finally get their first win of the year, and the Phillies finally get their first loss of the year. They'll play again today, and then Phillies headed to Atlanta this weekend. Rangers over the Blue Jays. Diamondbacks over the Rockies. Dodgers beat the winless A's. A's do this every year. They cannot get on the they can't come out the gates playing well. They always start off really slow, and then around June or July they win like 50 of 52 games or something ridiculous. White Sox 10-4 winners over the Mariners, and the Padres 3-1 winners over the Giants. And there you have what's going on in the world of sports. There's a full slate of baseball today. Might get into a little bit of that later, but that's about it. And Sean, man, I cannot remember what it was, but there's something I was going to talk to you about before we got back into the draft, but whatever it was is I've lost it now. So I'm sure it'll pop back in my head here in a second. But by the way, this Paul Pierce thing with the video, there is a substantial rumor out there that he did that on purpose. He's trying to get fired from ESPN to go to Barstool.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that too.
Do you think that's calculated, or do you think that's a bunch of crap that someone's come up with?
It could. I mean,
because he looks like he'd been up all night, not making good decisions.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he looked like he was enjoying the lifestyle of a current NBA player, not a NBA player who's been retired for a decade. So I understand why someone would jump to that conclusion. I don't know, having followed ESPN and some of their media stuff over the years, when you're part of Disney, don't bring any negative attention on yourself or you're going to be gone. I mean, that's been, I'm surprised they didn't let Woj go.
Well, it depends.
I think them not letting Woj go with his whole thing with Senator Hawley was because he's so critical to their NBA coverage and they've sunk so much money into the NBA.
It's not just that, but Disney is so left wing, they didn't care. Right.
That's true.
But
That's
if the shoe had been on the other foot, and I can't give an example, but if there would have been a
but
writer, if there was
so
a writer that went after Nancy Pelosi, we'll just say, right, he or she would have been fired instantly.
You're probably not wrong about that. But if you're so left wing, what do you care that you have an employee who's in a legal establishment using paraphernalia that is legal in the state where he's using it? If you're so left wing, why does Pierce got to go? It's all, they're a big company. They're
very inconsistent. I will say that.
Super inconsistent. I mean, John Skipper was the CEO of ESPN and ferried, countless people out the door. And then he had to resign for coke problems, right. And showed back up running.
And now he's trying to, and now he and Levitard are trying to come up with their own broadcast team.
Right. Exactly.
And so there's been rumors that he could be going to Barstool. He could be going to whatever they're going to call that station or whatever they're doing with Levitard.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
My comment will be this: as an avid Paul Pierce fan, when he was with the Celtics, and he was still one of my favorite players of all time. He's not moving the needle for me, man. I'm not going to a channel to watch Paul Pierce. So this fell into ESPN's lap, and depending on what they were paying him, I don't know what they were paying him, but they're like, "Good God, thank God, we overpaid this jerk. Get him off." He is just he's not terrible, but he is not.
He's not good.
He's not good enough to where he commands the room, commands the microphone, right? So I can't imagine anyone's going to watch him. Whatever he's done was foolish. By the way, in the midst of all this that has been lost in this whole situation, Paul Pierce is married. He might have more issues than just getting fired by ESPN.
I don't know if you've ever watched the TV show Basketball Wives, but I don't think the wives care about that. The wives care about when their next nail appointment is. So that's not a big deal. If you don't know who Larsa Pippen is, Scottie Pippen's ex-wife.
I don't, and I am a better man for it.
Exactly. Trust me. The wives of NBA players don't care about this stuff. They just want to know that the bank account's good. I'm just telling you. That's straight up.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm with you. Woj should have been fired if Paul Pierce is going to be fired.
Correct. And I love Woj, but they've ferried so many people out the door for so much less than this.
You don't want to know his opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like because now he's branded himself. And now, so for someone like me who's a conservative, every time I see him, that's all I can think of is, man, you're kind of a weirdo to get whether you were intoxicated or not, to get that fired up to slip into someone's DMs like that. And that's what you're going after. I mean, it's just weird. And so I don't hate him for it. I'm like, you can have your political opinions, right or wrong, it is what it is. You just kind of come off as a weirdo to me, especially when it's different if you're on an independent deal and that's supposed to be a part of your lure, right? If you're on a left wing, because I'm going to guarantee you Dan Le Batard, whatever he tries to open is going to be very left wing, right? Because that's just the way he is. Okay, fair enough. But when you are on a national television stage like ESPN, Fox Sports, CBS HQ, whatever. That's one of the reasons why I love CBS HQ so much, and it is constantly running at my house, it is what ESPN News used to be, which just delivers you the news. And whoever's on the site, I never get some rant about, even when with the MLB All-Star Game junk that went on, no one sat up there and broke it down for 45 minutes for us. They
Right.
just kind of put the blurb, and then they went back to, man, Tatis's shoulder's jacked up. Let's focus on that. And so that's what I really loved about ESPN News back in the day, and of course now it no longer exists. It's just an extra channel that they have that they can put the beginning of a baseball or basketball game on, because women's tennis has run longer than they expected on the Deuce. So that's all ESPN News is. I don't even remember who it was, but recently, in the last few years, it was before I got on the app, so it must have been DirecTV, but there was some kind of package where if you upgraded, you got ESPN News, and they called me about it. I was like, what the hell's the last time I watched ESPN News? It's reruns of Around the Horn is what it is. Yeah. Whatever, dude. By the way, you'll notice I won't wear this hat very often. This is to get us off the schneid today. I don't wear this out often. It's the I guess I have to do that way.
They're still trotting out. ESPN's still trotting out Levitard's show, Highly Questionable, with your girl Katie Nolan and a bunch of rotating characters.
Oh, it's terrible.
He's not on it anymore. It's like,
look, his dad's not on it. That's why it sucks. When his dad is no longer on it, it sucks. It's highly questionable that show's still on. That's what
it's basically Katie Nolan and is it I forget.
Bomani Jones.
Bomani, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't he leaving? He's leaving or has already left to go join Levitard, I thought, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Dominic Foxworth will be on there.
Pablo Torre's on there.
What I love about it is it's a bunch of people that nobody likes, so you can put them on one show and you can just avoid the whole damn thing. And I can wait for PTI to come on. PTI, I only watch PTI regularly unless Pablo Torre shows up, and then I go, whoop, I'm out, because he is terrible. And Tony Kornheiser fawns over him like he's this great, intelligent sports mind. He's usually has the worst takes. And when he gets out of his lane and starts talking baseball, he looks like a schmuck, because he never knows what the hell he's talking about. Evidently, there was almost a brawl between the Brewers and Cubs last night too, by the way. So that's it. Yep. Let's get back into the draft, because we're going to run out of time. The number 7 pick overall. Get back to our big board here. What did I do? Did I take it down? What's going on here with me? All right. You got the Detroit Lions, obviously, are drafting, and you've got the pick. Where are you going with the Detroit Lions? For people who are just joining us, the Jags took Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson to the Jets, Mac Jones to the Niners, Kyle Pitts to the Falcons, Devontae Smith to Alabama, and Jamar Chase to LSU. So it's been nothing but receivers and quarterbacks so far. I said Jamar Chase to LSU. Jamar Chase of LSU to Miami. Sorry. Where are the Detroit Lions going, Sean?
Well, I hope they go to the phones and call 29 other teams and try to get out of this pick for more picks. But if they have to make this pick, I think there's a very logical choice. It's going to pain me to watch it. But if they stay here, they are going to take Justin Fields. They are off Jared Goff's guaranteed money after one season. He basically only has enough guaranteed money for one season. After the 2021 season, he's like a $3 million cap hit. He costs nothing to let him walk or to try to trade him somewhere else.
What's funny about this, I don't mean to cut you off. We originally had the picks flip-flopped, and then I realized that the Lions were drafting 7th. This is where I was going as well. And I said, I'm not going to do that to Sean. I'm not going to take an Ohio State guy to send him to Detroit Lions.
Hey, look, we've had some great – Chris Spielman's one of the best Detroit Lions of all time. He's in the front office right now. You know, he's a suck guy. You know, we drafted Jeff Okudah last year from Ohio State. I think his rookie season left me with more questions than answers. But we'll see if after a full off season and now a competent coaching staff teaching him anything instead of pencil heads, big potato headed, big fat Humpty Dumpty looking dumb bearded butt trying to run the defense.
Tell me how you really feel.
I hate that guy so much, man. There's not a lot of people I'd hit with a car, but he's on the list. It's not a big deal for us to take an Ohio State product. Listen, I think all the breakdowns about Justin Fields and how much you want to think.
I don't think you want to do that to your car, by the way.
Yeah, I don't think I want to do that to my. I just bought my wife a 2018 Altima. That thing will be
that thing will crumple. That thing will crumple if it's old pencil head.
Be like driving a golf cart into a meat grinder. If he's here and if they keep this pick, I think it's very obvious they would take Fields. I think Fields is an elite athlete, whether he's an NFL quarterback. I think with the right coaching, he could be. I'm really tired of seeing all the breakdown of whether he gets to his second, third, and fourth. If I have to hear Dan Orlovsky's dumb mouth one more time in the next 30 days, I'm going to shoot myself in the brain. I just think he's a very good player. And I think Lance is the guy of all the quarterbacks I could see falling. If he doesn't get taken by the Falcons, he could fall into the teens or the 20s, because you start looking around at who needs a quarterback and it gets pretty dire pretty fast. And I don't see Campbell and Holmes taking an unproven product like that. So if they're still here, I think they take Fields.
All right, and I'm going to make it short and sweet. The Carolina Panthers, number 8 pick overall. This is after all the trades and whatnot. They're going to go Patrick Surtain of Alabama. The lockdown corner. That's what they need in a division where they're going to be facing Tom Brady, in a division where there ought to be some interceptions to be had when they face the Saints this year.
famous. Eat that W.
Yeah. Whether you got Jameis or Swiss Army knife behind center, they're going to throw some interceptions. I think, and then if the Falcons get a guy like Pitts, you're just going to need that help. You can put a Surtain out there on an island against Julio Jones and feel fairly confident that he can hold his own. So that's where I'm going. Patrick Surtain, the second, obviously, not the first, but the second. So we go to Denver. Where are you going with the Broncos this year?
Well, this is going to be the first boring pick on the board. But the Broncos have a franchise left tackle in Garrett Bowles, who they've already paid. I think they're going to shore up their offensive line. I still don't think Drew Lock's the answer long term, but if they don't get one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks, I don't think they take a shot on Lance here. I don't know that Lance is a considerable upgrade over Drew Lock, so they might be out on the trade market, maybe trying to sign a Mariota, possibly if he's on the street, something along those lines. I'm going to take Rashawn Slater, who I think is the best offensive tackle in the draft. There's a lot of debate whether it's Slater or Sewell. I think Slater has more upside. Sewell is just very steady. You can plug him in at right tackle. Slater can kind of move around a little bit. So I'm going to take Rashawn Slater, offensive tackle from Northwestern, for the Denver Broncos.
It's interesting because I believe they're going to go quarterback and they'll go Trey Lance.
Interesting.
I just feel like, well, you know what? It really depends on where they think they are with Locke, to be honest with you. And if they believe in Locke, we'll know by that pick.
Nobody watches more football than you, and I watch a lot. I mean, the moments are there with Locke. He'll make a throw here or there where you're like, oh, not a lot of people can make that throw, but then he'll just throw it.
He was great in his first year. Last year was so goofy. I have a hard time breaking it down. Yep. There were so many injuries on Denver. I think you're probably right. I think they'll probably roll the dice and say, look, this is our last chance to figure out what we have in Locke. And if we don't have something in Locke, at least we get ourselves a lineman locked up on that side for the next 10 years. And then if Locke still isn't our guy, then we can always revisit this, right?
Yep.
Next year. So that falls us to the Dallas Cowboys. And there's a part of me that thinks it could be Sewell, because you want to get you want to build up that Cowboy offensive line. But the Dallas Cowboys, and I know a lot of people have J.C. Horn of South Carolina going there, but the Dallas Cowboys, to me, have always been a team that likes to have athletic linebackers. And I don't think there's a better one on the board than Micah Parsons out of Penn State. And so if he's sitting there, I think Micah Parsons, Penn State linebacker, is going to be a Dallas Cowboy. I just, and I know he's projected as an inside linebacker, but he wreaks havoc. If anyone has not seen Micah Parsons and what he does, he's so athletic. He has a nose for the ball. And this is a division that is, quite frankly, up in the air. I don't think the Giants are going to be that good. I still think Daniel Jones is an good-ish quarterback. He's about like a Drew Lock. You don't really get excited about him, but you didn't make a terrible draft pick with him, right? You could probably find a way to win with him. You got the Redskins, who have a lot of questions on whether or not they can repeat what they did without Alex Smith involved. And then the Eagles are the biggest wild card in the NFL, because what can Jalen Hurts do for a year? What can defenses do to him for a year? So I think the Cowboys are going to try to shore up that defense, because it's got to be playoffs or bust this year for McCarthy, right?
Right.
There's no way that guy doesn't make the playoffs again and keeps his job, right?
No way. The 10-6 or better with a healthy Dak under center, or he's out of town. It would be my opinion.
All they got, if they win the division, they just have to win the division.
Sure.
But
yeah, I would agree with that.
It's got to happen. Even if that gets hurt again, you've got to have a backup plan, because the look is going to be, well, this happened last year and you had Andy Dalton, and that wasn't the answer. So what the hell are we doing now? So, Mike McCarthy's future relies on the health of one Dak Prescott, because I don't think they're going to make a major move for a backup. I mean, if they were smart, Marcus Mariota would be a great pickup for them.
Make a lot of sense, some Dak insurance, but can you really do that when you just gave Dak $180 million? I don't know.
If you draft a quarterback, what the hell is that going to do in Dallas? Oh my God.
Jerry's a trailblazer, man. He's the only guy to look at Zeke Elliott and go, you know what? The whole league is zagging against paying running backs. I'm going to Zeke. I'm going to give him $80 million. Guaranteed.
Lighting a cigar. Yeah.
Lighting a cigar on a boat. Like, whoo.
Everyone's
Ooh,
like,
Jerry.
Man, I have got to update my resume. This is ridiculous, right? Oh, before we do our walk-offs and stuff, real quick, I do want to talk about the American League Central. We only get a chance to talk this once a week when you're here. And the Royals, man, they're out to a hot start. I don't expect that to last, but I'm glad they didn't. I'm much happier considering I picked them to make the playoffs. I'm glad they're 3-1 and not 1-3. So don't get me wrong. I'm very excited about that. But do I think this is going to last at 750 winning percentage? No, I do not. They played the Rangers, so let's keep everything in perspective. But all in all, this first week of the AL Central, what is your take on the Tigers, the White Sox, Angels? I mean, the Indians look like they're just going to be atrocious.
I wouldn't say took a lot of grief, but I heard a lot from people in my life when I said, look, I think the Indians are going to fall off the cliff because they have nobody in that lineup to protect Ramirez. I don't know how they're going to score. The only team that might be more helpless scoring runs is the Milwaukee Brewers, who are, I think, last in the league in scoring runs, or like third to last. Pittsburgh is probably last. The Indians are in trouble. As a Tigers fan, you see all the Braves stuff. I love the Braves. They're my National League team. Always have been. But I'm a Tigers fan. I'm from Michigan. My goal for this year for the Tigers was just don't be a doormat, right? Win 72 to 80 games, be respectable. And they look respectable so far. Casey Mize, a lot to like there yesterday. I loved your Kansas City prediction. I really did not have my eye on them until I looked up and down the roster, saw some of the bats that they signed and the people they had coming up. And I was like, oh, I mean, they might hit their way to second or third. I still think it's going to be Chicago. It's going to be Chicago and Minnesota at the end. Minnesota's got some tough questions to answer. Like, if they lose Cruz or Sano for any considerable period of time, are we really counting on Byron Buxton, to hit 40 home runs? I don't, he hadn't done it yet, but, he's already got 2 this year. The White Sox are a little concerning. I don't know if I should be more, I don't know if I should be more optimistic about how the Angels looked against them the opening weekend or more pessimistic about how Chicago looked. But if you can get to their starters, their bullpen gets pretty dicey, pretty fast. I mean, Kopech's good and young, Hendricks is reliable, but outside of those 2 guys, I don't know what else you're working with. So it's going to be a fun ride all year. If you ask me to lay money on one thing,
do you think that looking at this long term? Well, first of all, the White Sox drew a really tough beginning of the season. Go out there, the
tough beginning. Yep, for sure. Left coast. Yep.
So the fact that they're 3-3 is actually impressive to me. But do you think, after watching a week of it settle in, that Minnesota, their pitching might be a tad overrated considering where everyone had them predicted?
I would say more than a tad. I mean, Maeda is your opening day starter. I like Maeda, but I don't think he's a number 1.
3 almost.
He's a 3 or a 4. Barrios is really their number 1. Barrios is electric. And then after that, I was surprised they didn't bring Odorizzi back. Odorizzi had a decent year for them last year, and they let Houston scoop him up for nothing.
Yeah, that was weird. That was really weird.
Yeah, I don't know what their thought process is.
He pissed in somebody's cornflakes. That's all I know.
They have always had an organizational philosophy to not, and especially recently since Rocco's been there, to have guys who pitch to contact, right? They don't have heavy strikeout guys aside from Barrios, which is a great plan when you play in a field that's like, 570 yards to dead center. But, when you're on the road, Kansas City's just going to mash, man. I mean, good luck getting through the middle of that lineup. My God.
They are a team that is going to hit bullets in the gap. I'm telling you, this is a team. They're going to keep people on base. They're going to score runs. The big question mark is their pitching. I do think Mike Minor will have a better year than most people have him projected, but that's because I'm a Mike Minor fan. I think Danny
they've got
Duffy,
arms.
Yeah,
they've got arms on the way too.
Yeah, I think Danny Duffy is a solid veteran you can lean on to eat innings. You like what you get out of Keller, and I think Brady Singer is extremely Brady Singer is unsung. Okay, Brady Singer should be sang. So I think they've got a solid. My biggest question for the Royals was how's that bullpen going to play out? They've done okay so far, so it's going to be a fun division because I don't think when you heard it preseason, everyone thought someone was just going to run away with it. I don't think that's the case. I think Detroit will hold their own with the youth that they have. I think
They'll be better.
City will be there, and then Minnesota and the White Sox. The Indians are going to be pulling up the rear. That's just all there is to it. They've got pitching, but they're just not scoring at all. And so
where are the runs going to come from? I just don't. I mean, I don't know where they're coming from. If they're not coming off Ramirez's bat, I don't know how you're getting them.
And losing Brad Hand was bad for their pitch hand. What the hell were they doing there? They have depleted that bullpen, a bullpen that was pretty scary just a few years ago. It's gone. I mean, you got Karzanak. He's about it. And I'm not a positive he's a closer. Let's go ahead and get into turn back times and do our walk-offs. This one is a special one, so I went ahead and pulled up the video as we go to turn back time here on Armchair Quarterbacks. All right, on this date in 1994, Chicago Cubs and Chicago White Sox were playing an exhibition game. And Michael Jordan goes 2 for 4 with a double and a single. And you'll notice here in the picture, here in a second, he gets a standing ovation from the Cubs crowd, which is really cool. I would have loved to play the audio for you, but we don't have the rights, and that would get us shut down in a heartbeat. But Harry Carey was on the call. So you can go You can go look it up on. Well, actually, I retweeted it. This morning, so you can look it up there here in a second. Not before Sean does his walk-offs. Birthdays, and we will know. We will know if you dipped out early. Happy 52nd birthday to Ricky Waters, NFL running back of the Niners and the Eagles. Of course, Notre Dame lore. Really good running back for about a 5-year period.
Yep.
Also, happy 46th birthday to 3 guys that I like to watch playing. Number 1, Ronnie Belliard of the Atlanta Braves.
Good one.
Remember him?
Good one.
And
the
then
Tigers bench coach, I think, recently. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
I bet you he could still pinch run. And he could definitely pinch run for me. Rondé Barber and Tiki Barber, they are 46 years old. Tiki, I don't like him as much as I like Rondé, but Tiki is on the CBS Sports Radio family, so I have to say nice things. No, I'm joking. Tiki's okay. I don't mind their show. I hated when he retired so early because I felt like he had a lot left in the tank, but he did what he thought was best for him. And of course, Rondé Barber was on those great Buccaneers teams as well. What is your walk-off for the day, sir?
My walk-off is go Braves. We need some wins. We need 2 of them today. I really liked what I saw at Huascar Ynoa in the spring. I'm hoping he carries that over. A little wild, a little unpredictable, but that might be a good thing today against Washington's lineup after, seeing a zone pounder yesterday on the mound and smiling.
Answer this for me. Why the hell is Max Fried not pitching the first game? It just seems so much smarter to have your ace go game 1. He could go a full 7 innings, and you could dump the entire bullpen out in the second game.
In the second game, yep.
Why? It seems stupid.
Snitty ball. That's my only answer. Snitty ball.
Oh, wait a minute. They flip-flopped it now. It does. Oh, they listened to me. This has been changed in the last 10 minutes. Max Fried looks like he's going game 1. Okay, that makes a hell of a lot more sense.
That makes way more sense. Yep.
He's going up against Eric Fetty, which we saw last year. Eric Fetty's got some good stuff. And then, cripes. Huascar Ynoa versus Steven Strasburg.
No. Oh, no. Well, I'll say this for the Braves. They had a good day against Max yesterday early in the count with fastballs. Strasburg likes to start early in the count with fastballs.
They hit Strasburg. They always hit Strasburg.
Yep. They always hit
Scherzer's hit or miss. Sometimes, I apologize for the pun, but Scherzer sometimes can pitch well against Atlanta. But Strasburg, since the day he's become a national, I guarantee if you asked him what lineup he hates to see the most, it's the Atlanta Braves. I don't know what it is about him because he's a phenomenal pitcher, but it just seems like they roast him. Now, I'll say that, and he's going to pitch a no-hitter, 7-inning no-hitter. But they normally do really well against. I'm just ready for the Braves to come home, man. I don't think any team should have to start the season off with 6 games on the road.
It's tough. Tough way to start the year.
I think you pick half the league to start at home. You pick the other half the league to play at home the second series. And then you've got your opening days out of the way. I just don't like that. My walk-off for today. So obviously, we're going to be watching the Braves double header. So I'm really excited about that. If you're looking for, by the way, I think a pretty good matchup, Matthew Boyd versus Maeda at 1:00. So, so I
have that one on.
Yeah, I'll be having that one on a second device. But if you're looking for a good pitching matchup later on this afternoon, Kevin Gausman of the Giants goes up against Blake Snell of the Padres, and that's good stuff. A lot of fun. I haven't seen what the NBA doubleheader is today. I seriously doubt it's the Celtics because they just played last night and looked like crap again. It's funny. I saw that they're so they're 8th in the East, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
But I noticed they're like 2 games from being like 4th in the East. It's crazy.
Yeah, they're all bottled up.
ESPN normally here we go. Pelicans, Nets. Yeah. Jazz Suns. If I was going to stay up that late, Jazz Suns is actually really interesting. How good are the Suns this year that nobody's talking about?
Nobody. Second seed in the West. Nobody's talking about them.
35-14.
I think everybody thinks they're fool's gold. They're going to get into the playoffs, and aside from Chris Paul, nobody on that team's ever been in the playoffs. So I think everybody's thinking they're gonna will, but we'll see.
We will see. Evidently, CBS is doing a special that will air this summer, and it's going to be about the lives of some of athletes and people that meant a lot to them growing up, like mentors. Boomer Esiason was talking about this morning, and evidently Chris Paul is going to be involved with his story. So I look forward to seeing that. So hopefully it's done well. Bobby Knight, 30 for 30 last night. Phenomenal. If you have not watched
Plus, I'll have to check it out.
If you have not watched it, phenomenal. For people who don't remember the story, it'll be very enlightening to you. For those of us who lived it and remember it well, you'll learn some things you may not have known. And it was really, really well done. And I'm not just saying that because the guy that did it's a Florida State graduate, which you see at some point in the thing. It was really well done. And I forgot how mixed emotions I had for Bobby Knight, because I understood why he was hard on the kids and why he did what he did. But I also feel like his anger got a little farther the later he was in, because you don't hear these complaints from like Isaiah Thomas, right?
No, it was from Dan Dockich and kids later on that.
Yeah, I feel like it was, anyways, phenomenal. Try to check that out, y'all, because it is really good. All right, Sean, we'll see you next Wednesday. Great job. And go Bravos, baby. Come on. We need a W. Come on, W.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on these CBS Sports affiliates and catching the show on YouTube Live. We're here weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. Find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live today. Please subscribe and share and take us everywhere you go. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for Southern sports talk, live from the First Coast.
Gonna get another cigarette.